Any example I use for this final regular lecture of the course is going to feel dated in the time that it's recorded here in the summer of 2025. However, I'm going to, at the risk of that, I'm going to ask it a question. If the U.S. further joins into this hot war with Russia going on in Ukraine, how would the organs of U.S. foreign policy respond? Currently, Vladimir Putin is pushing past the border, defying Trump. Trump is preparing something with NATO at the time of this recording. The last competency we tackle in this course is this idea of applying the policy framework to a modern crisis, contemporary crisis. It doesn't have to be foreign policy, it can be anything. This involves taking the concepts we've learned, discussed throughout the whole course, understanding the policy process, the tools available, fiscal, monetary, regulatory, diplomatic, military, the constraints, constitutional, political, economic, and the competing values, and apply them to a real world problem here at the end of the course. Imagine a crisis, right? It shouldn't be hard to imagine a crisis. Perhaps climate change, rising healthcare costs, opioid addiction, cybersecurity threats, the fate of Taiwan, the fate of Gaza, um, and maybe even something about the face of automation too, in terms of artificial intelligence, another thing to think about. To outline the potential for a new law or policy framework to tackle that issue you're thinking about, one would need to define the set of problem and all of its related goals. So identify the nature and the scope of the crisis and establish measurable objectives for that policy. How would you know if things are getting better? And then policy tools determine which government actions, tax incentives, new regulations, new spending programs, new international agreements, trade policy, etc., might be effective. Think about monetary policy, fiscal policy, regulatory approaches. And then think about which agencies specifically would be responsible for implementing those policies, what resources they would need, how success would be measured. Are you bringing about a lawsuit to get the court to rule on something that has been a big question mark in American governance? You need to have that lawsuit first. Analyze political feasibility of your solution too. Assess the political challenges. Think about what could go wrong. Potential opposition from interest groups. Who's going to not like it? What are they going to say about it? What are they going to conjure in terms of lies they will tell about your program, right? And then think about the current state of government, like who's actually receptive right now. What are the conditions by which you could get that law passed? Who would you need in office? Would you need a certain kind of majority within the Congress, a certain kind of president willing to take that on? Then think about all the trade-offs, the costs, the economic, social, the impacts on individual liberty, what it means in terms of what people can't do once your law is passed. Are there unintended consequences you haven't even thought about? Just ask people about it, right, and see what they say. Does the proposed solution align with constitutional principles? I like to say, and this is sort of a good way to sort of end this unit, there are no solutions, there are only trade-offs, right? The solutions that we can sort of arrive at are those that we can live with, and the closer they are to us, the more involved we are, the more likely we are to co-sign or support or understand that solution. That is the threat of a distant government in Washington making dictates. It is also a call to action in terms of your ability to influence politics both at the local level and at the national level. Do what you can. Congress is accessible, but it'll be a lot easier to influence that Congress if you sort of understand the rules, get involved locally, help others, and put the values of what you're asking for out of Washington into work within your own life. Ask not what government can do for you, ask what you can do for your country and your government and your people.